what is up guys? Welcome back to my channel. So today my setup is a little bit different because I am going to be showing you my very first podcast episode. So I launched a podcast, surprise. It is called Fake It Till You Make It, and I'm going to be uploading every single Monday. So I'm also going to be doing a video version of each episode. So if you'd rather just like listen on YouTube, you can, or you can subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I'll have the link down below. Even if you are going to listen to it mainly on YouTube, please go subscribe and leave a rate and review. It would really mean the world to me. I'm so freaking excited about this podcast. If you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button and join the fam. I make new videos every single week. And yeah, let's just dive into the first episode. Hey guys, welcome to Fake It Till You Make It. I'm your host, Cicily Boone. So let's just dive right in. Today I'm actually going to be talking all about how to make friends as an adult, keeping friendships strong, and also my personal struggles with finding friends throughout high school, college, and now post-grad. I feel like this is such a huge thing that needs to be discussed, but so many people don't talk about how hard it actually is to make friends, and especially keep friends as an adult. That's a really big one right there. I feel like keeping friendships strong is so hard. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, I've definitely struggled with it throughout my life, but we'll get into that a little bit later. I wanted to start off with a little bit of a backstory of kind of my life experience and friendships and what I went through growing up. So as a kid, my family and I moved around a lot, and I mean like a lot. We lived in about 7 states before I was the age of 10. I was born in Michigan, which a lot of people don't know, and then we moved to Kentucky, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Georgia, Michigan, Ohio, and then finally Texas. And that was when I was 10, was when we were in Texas, and that was insane. Like, we'd moved around that much. I started middle school when we moved to Texas, so that was pretty nerve-wracking. I feel like starting at a new school is always awkward and kind of weird, but I was starting at like the most awkward stage in my life, when you're like 12, 13 years old, you're not really sure of yourself, and it's just a weird stage. And I feel like, especially because I was in a small town where everyone grew up around each other and knew each other their whole lives, I really felt like the odd one out right off the bat. Although I was new and it was kind of a weird new situation, you know, in 6th grade, I made friends pretty quickly. But of course, like, we had our fair share of drama and fights, as most like 11 to 13-year-olds do. And by high school, I had actually made an entirely new group of friends than the ones that I was friends with in middle school when I became a cheerleader. So I got really immersed into the world of like cheerleading and football games and all sorts of stuff like that when I got into high school, and with it came an entirely new friend group. It also helped that there was so much more people in my high school versus my middle school, because I think it was 3 middle schools fed into my 1 high school. So it gave me a lot more opportunities to be friends with different types of people, and people that were just going to, like, I don't know, that I would be better friends with. I finally thought, you know, like, wait, this is it. I finally have friends. Like, we're not moving around. This is so awesome. But that was until I quit cheerleading at my school to do competitive cheer before my junior year. And honestly, like 80% of those friends stopped talking to me after I wasn't on the school cheer squad anymore, which is honestly pretty sad. And I'm not gonna like put the blame on them. Like, I definitely had my fair share of animosity towards just like cheering at the school in general. A lot of crappy things happened, so I'm not gonna say like it was all their fault. Like, it definitely was mine too, but I definitely lost a lot of friends after I quit cheering at school. I think it really hit me that I just didn't have as many friends as I used to anymore when I actually broke my wrist my junior year of high school. And I had been in the hospital. I like got surgery. Of course, the first time I break any bone, I break my wrist all the way through and have to get surgery. So dramatic. And I was out of school for about 2.5 weeks, and not one person came and asked how I was doing or came over to see how I was doing. And that's, you know, when it really hit me. I was like, wow, I need friends. What happened? Like, I feel like I don't have any friends anymore, and just, I was really sad, you know? I feel like anyone would be. So I really started trying to get to know people at the competitive cheer gym that I was at, which is where I made my friend Sarah. Shout out to Sarah, I love her so much. We're still friends to this day. And I also asked a lot of people, like in my lunch period, like if they wanted to sit together or if they wanted to hang out. Like people that I hadn't really talked to but I knew of, And I actually made a lot of friends that way. I made an entirely new group of friends, and you know, I finally felt a part of something again. And we all actually stayed friends for a pretty long time. And then I feel like in college, you know, things got rocky. It's really hard to keep friends, especially when you're young and you move halfway across the country alone, which is exactly what I did when I was 18. You know, I moved all the way out to LA. I didn't know anyone. I was trying to make a life for myself, trying to find new friends to hang out with, and that can be overwhelming in itself and really take up all of your time. So I was neglecting my friendships, you know, that I had made at home. I feel like a lot of people go through that, and you know, yeah, it happens to everyone, and it's hard to realize that maybe you and your friends are growing apart from, you know, how you were when you were growing up, but it's reality, it happens. So back to being in LA, I eventually made friends there. You know, I lived there for 3 years. It was so amazing. I really, really loved it. I do not regret moving there at all. And then after I graduated from FITM, I really wanted to get my bachelor's degree, but it was just so expensive to stay at FITM since I was out of state, and also just LA is expensive in general. So I made the decision to do online college so I would have more flexibility to like work or hang out with people or travel and stuff like that. And I actually decided to move back to Austin, which is where I live now. So yeah, another move happened, and guess what? I had some falling outs with some people because we just didn't see eye to eye. We weren't in the same place in life, and you know what? That's totally okay. I don't have any animosity towards anyone, and I wish them the best, but when friendships get toxic, it's just time to move on. You know, it's typically better for everyone that way. People grow apart, people change, and it's totally fine. You know, there are not very many people who have friends for their entire lives, you know. I feel like I've said, you know, like 20 times. I'm so sorry. I'm so aware of that because I say it 24/7, especially when I'm telling stories. But anyways, like I was saying, I don't have any animosity towards them. People grow apart, people change. We're also all growing up around each other. You know, when you grow up being in high school and middle school and then college and then beyond that, like so much happens in that span of time that you're bound to, you know, make new friends, lose some old ones, and it's 100% normal. So don't feel like it's not if it's happening to you or if it's the end of the world, because it's honestly not. You will make more friends. Trust me, I've been there. I've done it many, many times. So when I moved back to Austin, I was kind of faced with finding friends yet again. But this time I really wanted to connect with people who I could really mesh with and that supported each other no matter what. I wanted to be friends with people who weren't catty and didn't try to bring each other down or cause unnecessary drama. I feel like I've had a lot of friends like that in the past, and you know, that's on me for just attracting those kinds of people or letting it get to me even. And I mean, I feel like we all have that one friend or a few friends who act like that, and it can really bring you down and affect how you respond to so many other relationships. And to make new friends, you know, I really had to put myself out there, and I started asking people to hang out from work who I meshed with, and that was kind of the first step into making new friends. And I know not everyone probably wants to be like best friends with everyone at their work, or they may not work with people who they would like right off the bat think they would be friends with, but you honestly never know. So that was kind of where I started, and then I moved on to, you know, like asking people to hang out from like Instagram that I knew, which also I feel like 10 years ago would have been really weird, but now it's not at all. People like post their entire lives on social media, so I feel like you can really get to know someone even before you meet them in person. So I did actually make a lot of friends from Instagram too, which is kind of cool. But the next thing that I did was I was really open to unconventional ways of meeting people. And like I was saying earlier, I connected with girls through Instagram who lived in my area. I've made so many friends with like fellow creatives and like people who are photographers or who like art or are in different colleges around the area that way. And it really is crazy how many people you can actually meet and how many people are willing to, you know, make friends from Instagram and make friends online. And I think that is so cool. And again, like I said, 10, 15 years ago, that would have not been the case. That would have been so weird. If you met someone from the internet, they were probably gonna kill you. I mean, that might be a little harsh, but you know, people just did not do that. Moral of the story. The next thing that I did was when I asked people to hang out, I started with simple things like asking people to go to brunch or dinner. You can actually talk and get to know them versus doing something too crazy where you're not really talking. A lot of the girls that I did meet through Instagram who are other like creatives and stuff as well, we would, you know, meet up, get coffee, and then we'd shoot photos together. And that was a really fun thing that we both love to do, and it helped us both out, and it was easy to get to know someone that way. And I know that can be a little bit vulnerable because you are like taking pictures of each other, but it was a way for me to connect with other people who liked the same things that I did and lived in my area, and I thought that was really cool. But starting with brunch or like dinner or like simple hangouts like that is always a good way to go. Also, if you can drink a little mimosa or a margarita, that always will like lighten the mood and kind of loosen you up, you know? I've said, you know, like 300 times. If you can count how many times I said it in this episode, I will personally send you a Starbucks gift card. So whoever does it first, I'm not kidding, like DM me on Instagram, I will send you a Starbucks gift card. Because I'm assuming I'm well over like 50 times already, and it's only been like 11 minutes of me recording. But like I was saying, I put myself out there, I was open to new ways of meeting people, and I started with like simple hangouts. And eventually doing all of that, I made friends. Some days, you know, I still feel lonely, and some days I'm on top of the world, but that's real life. You have good days, you have bad days. Sometimes you feel like you have no friends when you do actually have friends. And another thing that took me a really long time to grasp, especially outside of high school, is I don't need to have like 40, 50, 100 friends. Like, I don't need that. What you really need in your life are core people who are really great friends, who want to stay in touch, who want to lift each other up and call each other out when they need to, but aren't rude or mean to each other. You need that, and you don't need to have tons and tons of friends. You just need a few good ones. And when I was younger, I was really used to having a ton of friends, and when I look back at it, honestly, most of them weren't even like really, really good friends. They were just other people to hang out with and to include in the circle of quote unquote friends that I had. But in the end, they weren't like great friends who knew everything about me and were really invested in my life. And when I graduated high school, I ended up not talking to a ton of people, and I'm okay with that because it goes both ways. Obviously, I wasn't invested enough to stay in contact with them, and they weren't invested enough to stay in contact with me. And now that I'm older and I feel like I'm better with relationships and better with learning how to maintain friendships, that has changed. But like I was saying, you don't need a million friends, you just need a few good ones. And now I think I have like 4 or 5 friends who are really, really close, and then I have a few who we're starting to be closer because they're just like newer friends, and I'm really excited about that. So I'm gonna move on and share 3 tips for making friends as an adult. So grab a paper, grab your notes on your iPhone or something if you can. If you're in the car, make a mental note to come back and replay this for later. So the first tip, and in my opinion, the #1 key to making friends, is actually asking to spend time with someone. Which I know is easier said than done, but a lot of things worth having happen by stepping out of your comfort zone. And a lot of people think it's weird to ask someone to hang out or go straight up to someone that you've met and you're like, wow, we should get coffee, or why don't we go do this? And actually set a date and make a plan and go do something. Like, if you don't ask someone to hang out, how are you going to make any friends? How are you going to invite more people into your life if you don't ask? I hate the saying, good things come to those who wait, because in my opinion, that is not the case. Good things come to people who ask and go after what they want, and that is including friends. So my second tip is you have to be willing to step out of your comfort zone. You never know who you're going to mesh with or click with and actually form a good friendship with. I have so many different friends from different backgrounds with different personalities, and I love having it that way because you have so many different opinions and different people you can get advice from, and it has made such a difference in my life, and it has also made me a more compassionate person. If you are not taking the chance and stepping out of your comfort zone, then nothing new is going to happen in your life. So the third tip is to be open to unconventional ways of meeting people, whether that's online, through a mutual friend, or someone you run into in real life. I have had multiple instances where I'm at a photo shoot for work, or I'm doing a friend a favor and there's other girls there, and I end up talking to them and actually forming real life friendships, which is so cool. And again, I feel like that goes hand in hand with being willing to step out of your comfort zone and ask someone that you meet in real life to, you know, hey, we should hang out, we should meet up, and actually following through with what you say when you ask someone. So I think that's really important, and practicing these 3 things have made a huge difference in my life, and it's actually led me to so many amazing friendships. And I feel like, especially lately, I've been building so many new friendships, and I love where I'm at. I love where I live. I love the people I'm surrounding myself with. And I just want that for all of you guys. You know, it's really hard to go through life without people to support you. So those are my 3 tips for making friends as an adult. I hope that helps you guys. But another thing that I wanted to talk about, I know I touched on maintaining friendships earlier, which is again the last thing that I want to talk about on this episode. To me, making friends is actually the easy part, but cultivating long-lasting relationships is what's tough, and it's something that I have definitely struggled with over the years, and is a big reason that, you know, I have gone through so many different friendships. I will own up to it. I'm not afraid to say, like, hey, maybe I wasn't the best friend when I was younger, but as you get older, you learn and you grow, and that's the whole point. But I'm definitely guilty of not staying in touch as often as I should with others, or letting my business or work be more important than people around me. And also, I am guilty of not understanding that different types of people have different needs, especially when it comes to feeling secure in their relationships and their friendships. So the biggest things when it comes to really paying attention and really nurturing friendships you've made, even if you can't always see each other, is making sure to make checking in a priority. Even if it's just a 5-minute text exchange, it doesn't have to be every day. It doesn't even have to be every week. But just knowing that someone is thinking about you, especially someone that you call a friend, is so comforting and so nice to hear. And if you suck at this, like, set reminders in your phone to check in with your friends every few days or every week or every few weeks, you know, whatever you have time for, and make it happen, because it really helps, especially, I cannot stress this enough, if you do not live in the same town or the same city as your friends. Long distance relationships aren't just romantic. Let me tell you, it can also be friendships. I still have friends in LA. I still have friends in Ohio from when I lived there. I still have friends, you know, who live now in different cities and different states, and it is so important to be checking in with them. Having compassion for one another is also so important to really growing your friendships. People lead busy lives. We all do different things. We're in different situations. We have different jobs. We have different relationship statuses when it comes to, you know, like romantic relationships, and things happen. You get busy, and sometimes, you know, you can't be around your phone or be calling someone up all the time or asking them to hang out every single week, because that's just life. Things happen, things come up, and that's something that you can't control all the time. And I feel like for me, that was something that I had to really let go of, was trying to control every single situation and being upset when a plan got canceled or when something wouldn't happen. But when I learned to really have compassion for other people, it allowed me to brush things aside that, you know, aren't really important in the grand scheme of things, and be there for my friends and really grow our friendship. Another way you can really nurture and grow a friendship is to interact on social media, especially if they're super into it and they're posting all the time. Like for me, I post quite a bit on my social media, and so do a few of my other friends, and I'm always commenting, like hyping them up, trying to make sure that they know I'm there and I appreciate them, and I think they're gorgeous, I think they're pretty, I think they're amazing, and doing the best that they can, because that's what friends do. And I think that's just a small way to show someone that you're thinking about them, just like checking in. And I know most of you are always on social media. Like, I am on social media 24/7, so you can take the 5 seconds it takes to comment on a friend's picture, and I promise you it will really make their day, because I smile every single time I see one of my friends comment on my pictures. So another way you can really grow and nurture your friendship is to plan your hangouts in advance. I cannot stress this enough, especially as an adult, when we all have busy lives, different work, different, you know, all sorts of stuff like that. We have different things going on in our lives. Planning is so important. Like, I feel this on a whole nother level. I am definitely one of those friends who has to plan things at least a week in advance so I can mentally prepare, get my schedule together, write it in my planner, and make the time for it. Because if I'm hanging out with someone, I want to make sure that I'm present, I am all the way there, and I will actually show up. And lastly, when you are hanging out with someone, be present. Pay attention to what they're saying. Don't just stare at your phone the whole time and scroll through social media. That can wait. I promise you, it will be there when you're done hanging out with them. I feel like for a lot of people, opening your phone and going to Instagram or Twitter is muscle memory. I do it all the time. I catch myself doing it. And it honestly is rude. Like, it's one thing to show your friends something that you saw on social media and you're like, oh, look at this. And it's another to just keep scrolling or doing things on your phone while someone is trying to have a conversation with you. It is one of my pet peeves, but it also is something that I'm guilty of. I'm not perfect. I'm not gonna sit here and admit and say, like, I don't do that, because I definitely have done it before. And you just gotta recognize it. You need to be paying attention to your friends when you're hanging out with them so that they know that you appreciate them and you actually want to be there, and that will really help solidify your friendship and keep it strong. Wow, I feel like I got really passionate there about that one, but it's something that I just really resonate with. So that's basically it. This episode is only like 23 minutes so far. I thought I could get it to 30, but bear with me, guys. I feel like they will get longer and longer as I get used to recording these episodes, but I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I had a really good time talking about it and sharing it, and it's something that is not talked about a lot. Like, making friends as an adult is hard. And I am here for you if you are in a situation where you're trying to make new friends, or you've moved to a new town, or you started a new job, because it is nerve-wracking and it is not easy. But hopefully sharing my experience and my tips and advice really help you out and make you feel like you're not alone in the very least. Again, that's it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe. A new episode goes live every single Monday. Also, I'm now available on Apple Podcasts. I know when I first told you guys about the podcast, it was not up yet, but it is officially up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So go subscribe wherever you usually listen to podcasts. I myself am an Apple Podcast person, but yeah, that's a really big thing and something that I'm super excited about. Also, if you guys could please rate and leave a review on the podcast, that would be fantastic. I would really appreciate it. It really helps me get the word out there about Fake It Till You Make It, and it means a lot to me. Also, I just wanted to remind you guys that every fourth Monday of the month, I am going to be doing a Q&A/advice episode. So if you have questions, you can totally leave me a voice message if you want to be included in the podcast. There is a link down below in the description, so go check that out. If you don't want to like do a voice entry, you can also just comment either on the YouTube version of this podcast, or you can send it to me on Instagram. So make sure you're following the Fake It Till You Make It Instagram as well. It's just at Fake It Pod. Again, links to everything that I'm talking about will be down below, so make sure you go check it out. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and always remember, no matter what, be confident and fake it till you make it. Bye, guys.